Today I'm going to talk to you about the effects of dyslexia on children and adolescents. So dyslexia is a neurodevelopmental condition that affects the fluency in which one is able to read, write, and spell. 20% of the population is said to be dyslexic. Dyslexia is the most common learning disability diagnosed amongst children. So in the study where there was children aged 8 to 18, there were 47 children in all, and they were placed in groups. So there were a group of children that were dyslexic, and there were children that were not diagnosed with dyslexia, and they put them in a group. And then they were administered the multidimensional anxiety scale for children. The result of that study was that children with dyslexia exhibited more anxiety, lower self-esteem, and more behavioral problems than their peers without dyslexia. A second study was one that was a longitudinal study, and it measured children's grit and resilience. The children were recruited by email from 3 specialized schools that catered to students with reading disorders. There were, in that group, there were 68 students that participated, 63 students that participated that were recruited by email. And what they were asked to do, the parents and the teachers were asked to observe the students. And the parent and teachers filled out questionnaires every 3 months for a maximum of 10 times for that year. And the children that were in that program, they measured their grit. There was a grit and resilience scale, and their grit and resilience score increased for all participants. And what they discovered was that the longer the student was in the program, the higher the grit and resilience score was for that student. So the time in the program had a direct correlation with the increase in grit and resilience. The last study measured children's psychosocial functioning. And in that study, there were children from age 8 to 16. They started out with 163 participants, and as they winged down by testing students, and some parents refused to allow the students into the study. But of the original applicants, only 68 students were accepted. Some were excluded because they did not test as dyslexic. They were given, the severity of their dyslexia, was measured by using the Turner's Dyslexia Index. Then the students, as they determined that they were dyslexic, they measured their self-esteem with the self-profile for children. The end of that study, researchers found that children did indeed suffer lower self-esteem and anxiety, depression, amongst those diagnosed with dyslexia. However, they noticed that children who had parents that were knowledgeable of dyslexia, that were more involved and demonstrated more support for the student, those students tended to have less anxiety, less depression, and performed better academically than those who had parents that did not show as much support. So, in conclusion, researchers found that children diagnosed with dyslexia have a greater mental health issues. However, those students, when given support and early intervention, can display resilience and grit and have a positive psychosocial outcome, the more support they have from teachers and parents.